Hi guys, this is Tor from TC Electronic here live at the 2016 NAMM Show, and as you can kind of hear, things are really happening right now and it's super fun and exciting. So we have 3 really cool new guitar products announced here at the show, and the first one, and a really cool one, is Ditto X4, which is the big grey beast down here. And Ditto X4 takes everything that we worked on with the original Ditto Looper and Ditto X2 and just basically blows it out of the water in terms of added features and cool new stuff. So the main new thing is that now with Ditto X4 you have 2 totally independent loopers that you can either switch between or have run together. So this allows me, for example, to create 2 separate tracks and switch between them like this. Play one loop, and when I want to, I can switch to the other loop. It's going to wait until it cycles around, but hopefully in a little while you'll hear that it actually switches over. Wait for it, wait for it, and here it goes. And of course I can stop it. There we go. So this allows me to do more song-oriented stuff, like for example have a verse and a chorus and switch between them, or I have more for solo performance. I can have 2 different parts and solo them and basically, you know, create little performances that way. The other mode is what we call sync mode, and in that mode you can actually have the 2 loopers running at the same time, and you can have, say, a 1-bar loop in loop 1 and have a 4-bar loop in loop 2, but they'll still sync together and wrap around at the same time. Another really cool new thing we've added is the decay knob, and the decay knob allows you to basically remove old overdubs as you add new ones. So basically you can morph the loop over time for some really cool creative effects. And last but not least, we've added a bunch of new effects on top of the reverse and half speed that you guys might know from Ditto X2. So let's just hear 2 of them for the hell of it. So here is the tape stop one, which I really like. So I'll start playing my loop. And then bring it back in again. And another cool one is the hold effect, which is kind of like a stuttering thing. So just a lot of really cool new things that you can kind of fool around with. So with Ditto X4 you really get a performance looper. It's designed to be worked and used on stage, and that's also why we added MIDI capabilities to it, so you can sync it up with your favorite drum machine or your DAW using Ableton or whatever you prefer. Obviously it's stereo in and out, and the last thing that's really, really nice about it is the fact that when you use loopers, one of the most important things is the fact that you want to have it perform and operate the way you like it. And on the back here we have 4 dip switches that basically allow you to customize some of the most important features in terms of should the loop react immediately when you press, or should it wait until loop end? Do you prefer to go record, play, overdub, or record, overdub, play? All these little things that make a big difference when you're, you know, in the heat of the battle performing. Ditto X4 is shipping now, and it retails at €249 and $249. So make sure to check that out. Next up, we have this little guy here, and it's Bonafide buffer. And this is a very simple pedal. With the amount of noise and stuff here, I'm afraid it's really tough to kind of demo it, but I can kind of explain what a buffer does. So I think to any guitar player, the ideal tone is the tone of your favorite guitar with a very short cable going into your favorite amp. That's the sound we all strive for. But what happens when you start adding pedals, which obviously we love, you also have to add long cables. So you have a long cable going from your guitar down to the pedal board, you have a ton of cables going between the pedals, and you have a long cable going back to the amp. And all of these cables is actually degrading your tone. And what happens is actually exactly the same as when I roll down the tone knob on my guitar. It's the same thing that happens, and you lose high end and you lose clarity and you lose a little volume as well. And we can't have that. And this is where a buffer comes in handy. A buffer is basically makes your guitar signal way more robust and basically allow you to run as long cables as you want without degrading the sound. So you get the sound that you get when you plug directly into your amp, regardless of how many pedals you have on your pedal board. So if you want to check out if you might be in need of a buffer or not, it's really easy. Just plug straight into the amp, listen to how it sounds, then go through your regular setup with all your pedals and hear if there's a difference. And if there is a difference, you should probably check out a buffer. And Bonafide buffer is a great sounding one. It's very affordable at €69, $69 as well. And it's actually out now. So last but not least, we're also announcing our very first bass pedal, dedicated bass pedal here at the show. And this is SpectraComp bass compressor. So when we originally came out with our bass series of amps, we actually added a compressor built into the amp. And bass players all around the world love that, the sound of that compressor. And now it's available in a pedal format. And we actually upgraded it so that it sounds even better than the one in the amps. And the cool thing about SpectraComp is the fact that it's a multi-band compressor. And this means that we have 3 compressors running at the same time inside this tiny little box here. And the nice thing about that is that compression for bass can actually be a little bit tricky to achieve, because the problem is that there's way more energy. Your low strings are much louder than your high strings, and this means that when you try to set a bass compressor right for the low strings, you don't have enough compression on the high strings, and vice versa. When you try to set the compression right for the high strings, the low strings get too compressed. But with 3 compressors at the same time, we can actually split up the bass up into frequency areas and compress those areas independently, so we can have less compression on the low strings and more compression on the high strings to kind of even it out, so you get a natural even compression across the entire frequency spectrum. And this really works well, so make sure you check it out. SpectraComp is also shipping now, and you can buy it for €99, $99.